Good morning to everyone. Once again, welcome to history class. This is the revision class. In this revision class, we are going to see the history part of the chapter number 1. Today is 21st January 2021. Here we are going to revise the whole chapter. First, chapter number 1, what, where, how and when. So the revision for this chapter and for the date 21st January 2021, we are going to revise the whole chapter as well as we are going to see the question answers of this chapter. Let's proceed. First, what can we know about the past? So there are several things we can find out related to the people of eating habits, the clothes they are wearing, and the houses in that they are living. So dear cadets, there are the several things we can find about what people ate, the kind of clothes they wore, the house in which they lived. As well as we are going to find out the lives of hunters, herders, farmers, rulers, merchants, priests, craftspersons, and so on. As we also find out about the games children play, the story they hear, and they play, they saw, and the song they sang. This is the point, what can we know about the past and how we can find out about the past. Next, where did people live? So where the peoples were living, we are going to see. The people have lived along the bank of the river for the 700,000 years. Some of the earliest people who lived here were skilled gatherers. They used to live their life by gathering their food. So gatherer means the people who gather their food. They knew about the vast wealth of plants in the surrounding forest and collect the roots, fruits and the other forest produce for their food. They also hunted animals. So for their living purpose, they used to hunt also and they used to gather the forest product for their living. Next, some of the areas where women and men first began to grow crops such as wheat and barley about 8,000 years ago are located here. In the map book, in the textbook, already it has been shown, already we had finished in our regular class. This is the revision class, so I am taking the gist of the whole chapter. People also begin rearing animals like sheep, goat, cattle and lived in villages about 4,700 years ago. Some of the earliest cities flourished on the bank of the rivers. As in our whole syllabus already we studied about the Harappan civilization, Mohenjo-daro, Kalibanga, all these sites were on the bank of the river. Later, about 2,500 years ago, city developed on the bank of the river Ganga and its tributaries. What is the difference between distributaries and tributaries? Already I had explained in my regular classes. Please see this and please read properly. Next, in ancient time, the areas along these rivers to the south of the Ganga was known as Magda, now lying in the state of Bihar. Its rulers were very powerful and set up a large kingdom. Kingdoms were set up in other parts of country as well. So Magda was the big capital. Next, it is situated in Bihar. You can trace out in the map. Moving further, throughout people travel from one place to another on India. Why I am using the word India? Because here it has been mentioned subcontinent. So subcontinent is the another name of India. And why it is so, already I had explained. The hills and the high mountain, including the Himalayas, desert, rivers, and sea. So these are all the physiographic feature which a continent is having, as well as India is also having all this feature. That's why India is called as subcontinent. Made journey dangerous at times, but never impossible. So men and women moved in search of livelihood, as also to escape from the natural disaster like floods or drought. Sometimes men march in armies and conquering other land. So here you can understand about how the people they used to manage their life from the different situations. Next, beside merchants travel from one place to another, they used to move in search of religious places, to visit the town, and so on. Lastly, it's a very important point of adventure. Next, why do people travel nowadays? So that's a very important question. Already we had discussed in the class. We travel nowadays for what purpose? For the marriage ceremony, to attend the birthday party, for the medical purpose, for the educational purpose, or any other reason. So look at the map. One, once more, hills, mountain, and sea from form the natural frontier of the subcontinent. While it was difficult to cross this, those who wanted could and did scale the mountain and cross. So people at that time they used to move for the traditional purpose, otherwise to gain the knowledge, for the religious purpose, or so on, in search of food, in search of searching the another place to settle their life. So here children, again you have to look at the map number 1 in the textbook and you have to revise it, and you have to think upon why do people travel nowadays. So nowadays already I stated you, if any answers will be there, please write in your notebook. Names of the land. So here two of the words we often use for our country, that's Mother India, India and Bharat. The word India comes from Indus, called Sindhu in Sanskrit. What is Indus? The name of the river is Indus, right? Where it is? In Jammu and Kashmir, right? That's the north part of our country. The next, we are going to see the important points from where the word Bharat is coming, right? And the names of the land. How our India got the name. From Indus, it's India. Find Iran and Greece in your atlas. With the help of your atlas, you can find out the Iran and Greece, and the Irans and the Greeks who came through the northwest about 2500 years ago and were familiar with this Indus, called as Hindus or Indus, and the land to the east of river called India. Next, names of the land. Now we are going to see about Bharata. The name Bharata was used for a group of people who lived in northwest and who are mentioned in Rig Veda also. The earliest composition in Sanskrit dated about 3500 years ago. Later, this was used for the country. So now you are knowing about how the word India for our motherland and how the word Bharat has been used for India. Next, finding out what happened. There are several ways to find out what was happened in our past. So first we are going to see about manuscript. What are manuscripts? So manuscripts are the handwritten documents, and this comes from the Latin word manu, which means hand. So the handwritten documents are called as manuscript. These were usually written on the palm leaf or specially prepared the bark of a tree known as pitch, which grown in Himalaya region. Over the years, many manuscripts were eaten away by insect, some were destroyed, but many had survived, often preserved in temples and monasteries. Already the examples of manuscript has been placed in the textbook. You can see that. These books dealt with all kinds of subjects. It may be religious beliefs, practices, and the lives of the kings, medicine and science. Besides, there was epics, poem, play we are going to see in the upcoming chapters of the history, and many of these were written in Sanskrit, other one in Prakrit, which was the languages used by the ordinary people, and in Tamil language. We can also study the inscription. What are inscription? Already we had seen. These are writing on relatively hard surface such as stone or metal. Sometimes kings got their order inscribed so that the people can see, read and obey them. It will be very easy for the king to do the administration and to rule the kingdom with the help of inscription. Here are the other kinds of inscription as well, where men and women, including king and queen, recorded what they did. Whatever they used to do, they used to record in the form of inscription. For example, king often keep the record of victory in the battle. They used to keep that record. Next, there were many other things that were made and used in the past. Those who study this object are called as archaeologists. So archaeologists are the people. Here the archaeologists are the people. They are studying about these objects and making us to know about the past. Right? So in that the study is having the different patterns. They include the study of remains of building which are made up of stone and bricks, painting, sculpture and so on. Tools, weapon, pot, pan, ornament and coin. Some of these objects made up of stone, other of bones, baked clay or metal, objects that are used of hard, invisible substances usually survive for a long time. Next, archaeologists also look for bones of animal, birds and fish to find about what the people were eating at that time. So with the help of the bones of the animal, the archaeologists can easily understand at the time the peoples were eating these things. Plant remains survive far more rarely if seeds of grain or piece of wood have been burned. They survive in a chart form. Do you think cloth is found frequently by archaeologists? So that's your part, you have to think upon it. Already our syllabus is over and we have already seen where the clothes were found in which form. Next, moving further, historian, that a scholar who study about the past. So these are the words that like that who is archaeologist, who are historian. So they are the scholar who used to study the past. Often use the word, the source to refer the information found from manuscript, inscription and archaeology. Once sources are found, learning about the past become an adventure as we reconstruct it bit by bit. So historian and archaeologists are like detectives who use all these sources such as the clues to find out about the past. As the detective used to do, like that the historian used to do. And they used to find out about the past. One, past or many. So in our textbook the title already you have seen, our past. Not past, our past. Right? We use the word past in plural to draw the attention, to find the attention of the peoples, of the different people and different groups. Right? In that we are talking about the herders, farmers, king, queen. and their life was different from each other. As even today, people follow different practices, customs in the different parts of the country. Next, for example, today most of the people living in Andaman Islands get their own food by fishing, hunting, and collecting forest food. Now also they are following the same tradition. By contrast, most people living in city depend on the other people for supply of the food. That's we are doing. Differences such as this exist in the past as well. Next, beside these, we are seeing how the kings and queens used to keep the record and how the people, those who are living the ordinary life, the ordinary people, they don't keep record. And why? It may be possible they were not knowing the writing or the way or the skill to write or to preserve the record, or they are not interested to preserve their records what they did. Next, what do dates mean? If somebody asks you about the date, you will probably mention the date, month and year, right? Like that. So these years are count from the date. Generally, already we have discussed the birth of Jesus Christ, the founder of Christianity. Okay. Next, how the BC, before Christ, is there? Next, going towards the discussion of question answers once again. Dear children, for the match the following, you have to write the answer in this way only. Just Narmada Valley. So the correct answer should be here. This is the question first for you. And let's check out the answer. So we are having the 5 match the following and their options are placed in front of them. Let's match. So this is the correct answer. Narmada Valley, hunting and gathering. Magda, it is the first big kingdom. Garo Hill, early agriculture. Fourth, Indus and its tributary, the first cities. Fifth, Ganga Valley, city about 2500 years ago. So the match the following is clear to you. Those students who recently joined, they can write the question answer. Those already did in their notebook, very good to them. Next, difference between manuscript and inscription. So here we are listing out the difference between what is manuscript and what is inscription. So what are manuscript? So they are the handwritten document, and inscription, they are engraved on the relatively hard surfaces such as stone or metal. Next, return to Rashedas question. At the starting of our chapter, there was Rashedas question. Can you think some of answer? So yes, you can think upon ways to find out about the past. We are having the manuscript, inscription, old objects recovered from the excavation. Fourth, make a list of the object archaeologists may find and which could be made up of stone. So out of all these objects which are made up of stone, you have to pick it or you have to make it separate list. Already we had seen this question. Number of the time I placed this question in examination. So the findings are buildings made up of stone and brick, painting, sculpture, tools, weapon, pots, pan, ornaments, coin. And which are of these are made up of stone? So it may be building, tools, weapon and ornaments. Next, why do you think that the ordinary men and women did not generally keep the record? When I was reading this paragraph, I haven't moved in detail because here we are again seeing the question and its answer. So the answer, ordinary men and women did not feel the need of recording what they did. Also, they lacked the proper writing method. Next, describe at least 2 ways in which you can think the lives of the kings would have been different from those who of farmer. So here is the answer. You can see it. The kings were the head and had the absolute power. All his subject. On the other hand, farmers were living the ordinary life. and king lives in the palaces and farmers lives in hut, and the kings used to fought the battles and the farmer used to produce the food. In this way you can write out your own answer. Next, lastly, I am thanking to each and everyone for watching the video and do the revision part very seriously. Till then, be safe and secure at your home. Jai Hind.